Many of you have been involved with the Student Senate and our campus organizations. Others have been a part of our very successful sports teams, and some of you that are graduating tonight played on our state champion football team this year. Others of you have been involved in our theater productions and the choir and band concerts, or have been involved with the student newspaper, the West Bank Journal. I think we have a couple of our editors that are graduating this evening. And many of you have volunteered your time through our regional service learning projects. You've enriched the lives of the administration, faculty, and staff, and probably on occasion have challenged us as well. We all wish you the best as you take the next step. You should be commended for your perseverance in completing your degree or diploma. You have invested in yourself, and you're leaving prepared for the next step in your life's journey. We wish you all the best and encourage you to stay in contact with your instructors and the staff here at Central Lakes College. Cherish the relationships that you have started with your fellow students and with the staff here at the college. We look forward to hearing about your success, and we wish you all the best. And we're really very pleased that you chose Central Lakes College to continue your education. Now I have the pleasure this evening of introducing a very special guest to Central Lakes College. We are extremely honored and pleased that Minnesota Supreme Court Justice Paul H. Anderson accepted our invitation to speak to you graduates and guests this evening. There's bio-information in your program on Justice Anderson, and you'll notice that he is a Minnesota native, grew up in a dairy farm, was educated by some of our best educational institutions in the state, has had a rich work history in the public sector and in the private sector. He's been on the bench since 1992, when he was appointed Chief Judge of the Minnesota Court of Appeals. A couple years later, he was named to the Minnesota Supreme Court. Justice Anderson has been very engaged in his community, as you can see. He has won numerous awards and honors over the past several years, and as you note, he's an avid cyclist. He's participated in the MS Tram 7 times, the Tour de Wyoming twice, Cycle Utah, Cycle Montana. He enjoys gourmet cooking, history, and civics. We are delighted that Justice Anderson has agreed to share some thoughts and experiences from his very successful career with us this evening. Graduates and friends, please join me in extending a very warm welcome to our commencement speaker, Minnesota Supreme Court Justice Paul H. Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's indeed a pleasure here to be at Central Lakes graduation. One of the privileges of my job as a state Supreme Court Justice, I serve the full state, so I get around the state of Minnesota, and I want to tell you that this is one of the prettiest spots in our state, and I just love it. Although, you know, when I travel around, I used to think Brainerd was up north, but I remember the first time I went up to Bemidji and realized I got to Brainerd and I was only halfway there. And so you're not really up north. Before long, you'll be one of the suburbs of the metropolitan area. But I've given the assignment to talk to you for 15, 20 minutes tonight. It's going to be a challenge because I'm in schools a lot and they generally give me an hour, sometimes an hour and 15 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half. And so now I'm watching that clock up there. But in essence, I'm going to quote Adlai Stevenson. My job tonight is to speak to you for a while. Your job as graduates is to listen to me for a while. And I really hope we finish our respective tasks about the same time. Now, again, I mentioned I'm a cyclist. You do have the Paul Bunyan Trail here. Is that I do want you to look at the opinions of the Supreme Court, and you'll see that in a 5-1 decision authored by me, we saved the Paul Bunyan Trail. So we do make a difference sometimes. Now, in the time I have to speak with you, I'm going to share with you some of my life experiences, some of the lessons, talk to you about how important it is to show up for life's opportunities, how important it is to have some heroes, role models in your lives, is the challenges you face, some of the ethical challenges that you should meet, and talk to you a little bit about the uncertainty that you face at this time, but this particular time in the history of our country. But I'm going to start by saying something that I don't want to take the bloom off the rose, but some people today are going to say you've just completed the best 2 years of your life. Some of you are going to go on to 2 more years who say the best 4 years of your life. Don't believe them. I look at you and I see how young you are, and I think how sad that statement is to say that you complete your education and those are the best years of your life. They aren't. Believe me, they aren't. What you're going to do is say, these are the best 2 years. These are the best 4 years so far, because that's what they are. This is, after all, a commencement. What you've gotten here is an education that's going to provide you with the ability to lead fruitful lives and happy lives. And I want to share with you what I think are some of the key components to have a life like that. You read my resume and you see that I grew up on a farm, and then you see all the things I do, and some people say, you know, it's kind of inevitable I wound up where I did. There's nothing inevitable about it, believe me. I'm lucky. But there's also something else that's very key I want to share with you. Students will ask me sometimes, they say, Justice Anderson, you got a great job. And I say, I do. I really do have a great job. I get to deal with some of the most interesting issues of the day. I have good lawyers and people advocating come before and advocate issues. So it's a good job. Don't get me wrong. It's a hard job. Work hard at it. But they say, how do you get a good job like that? And I thought about that for a long time, and then I've come up with an answer. And I say, well, Woody Allen got it right. And then they always say, Woody Allen. Now, what's Woody Allen got to do with this? I always get their attention when I mention Woody Allen. But he said something that many other people say. The world is run by those who show up. And that's one of the key things. To be a success in this world, you've got to show up. Is that we live in a great country. Sometimes people tell you it's the land of opportunity. Let me tell you, surely it is the land of opportunity. But your job is, as citizens of this great country, is to look for those opportunities and show up for them. And what happens when you see those opportunities and you show up for them, you have experiences. Most of those experiences are good, some not so good, some are even bad. I've had the whole spectrum. But what happens when you show up and you have experiences? You learn lessons. You gain insight into yourself, you gain insight into others, you gain self-confidence, you get a bit of a better worldview, and from those lessons you expand your vision and you can see other opportunities. And then your job is to show up again. And it's really a cycle, but not a cycle exactly. It's really an upward expanding spiral. So my best advice to you is to look for life's opportunities. I know you're able to do that. You spotted Central Lakes. You showed up. You're here. You showed up and took advantage of the opportunities that this institution provided for you. You're graduating tonight. But I tell you, if you do show up, even a kid who grew up milking cows, didn't like milking cows actually that much, but decided about age 14 I wanted to do something else. But if you show up, you can do basically whatever you want. So that would be my first piece of advice for you. What I'm going to also tell you is as you show up for life's opportunities, I want you to keep a positive attitude. There are many people in this country, in this world, that want to turn you into cynics. You'll find them on the right, you'll find them on the left. I'll pick a couple on the right just because they're more prominent. Rush Limbaugh, Ann Coulter, Glenn Beck. They're very cynical. And do not let people on either side of the extreme turn you into the cynic, because you have no right in a country that provides so many opportunities as the United States does to become cynical. Because if you do become cynical, you turn your back on the very opportunities that this country provides. When you think about the immigration crisis, and it is a crisis, but why do we have a crisis? Because the United States is a beacon that people want to come to because we do provide opportunities. So don't become cynical about our country. There are a lot of things wrong. You know, Alistair Cook once said is that, the American people, what I like about them is they ultimately always do the right thing. Of course, it's after they've exhausted all of the other opportunities. But we do the right thing.